My name is John. I'm an iOS developer at Hyper. Before that, I worked for Spotify, and I also work on a lot of Swift open source projects. It's really nice. I've actually been here 3 times the last year. It's been really, really good. I like everything, like meeting all the people, the food. The city is very beautiful here in Kiev, so yeah, I really like coming here. So far, really, really good. I must say, like, really good response from the audience. It's a really good meetup and very large for a meetup, so that's really cool. Yeah, it seems like people are asking really good questions, like getting good information, so that's really awesome. So I was talking about how we can improve the testability of our Swift code. So a lot of people, they are experiencing it to be a little bit cumbersome sometimes when moving from Objective-C to Swift, because it was a lot easier to do things like mocking and more dynamic things in Objective-C. So I was talking about how we can change the way we write our code a little bit to make it easier to test in Swift. It's mainly for making sure that the things we write work the way we expect. So when you're writing code, you can sometimes accidentally make some bugs or some mistakes. And this is always going to happen whether you have tests or not, but you can really reduce the risk of it, and you can increase your own confidence level in your own code by writing tests. Basically, when you submit a pull request or a commit, you can make sure that that code actually works as you intended. It really depends on your project and how you write your tests. Achieving 100% test coverage is really a non-goal. It's not really about the test coverage itself. While it's a good metric to keep in mind when you're measuring, it's not a given that because you have 100% test coverage, you have great tests. So keep that in mind. But definitely, you will definitely see a reduction of runtime problems and things that happen after you ship your app if you cover it with a lot of tests. So it's not really, there's not really a if you write 5 tests, you will have 5 less bugs. It's more like you have to measure for yourself and see, what the trade-off is, what the return is you get for your investment, and use those metrics to kind of plan your work. I would definitely suggest that if you're writing code and you submit it as a pull request or a commit, I would definitely suggest that you write tests for that change. So first of all, you're sure that your code works. You can also increase the confidence level in your coworkers when they're reviewing your code, that they're looking at it and seeing that it has tests. Well, that's great, because then it actually probably works, right? But definitely cooperate with your QA team. Like, you can do things like UI tests together with your QA team, where you can sit down together and you can ask your QA, what do you spend the most time testing when you're testing this app? And maybe you can cover that with UI tests instead, so that the QA can spend more of their time on finding interesting, hard to find problems instead of just performing the same action over and over again. Absolutely. So the first tip was to design your code for test coverage. So make sure that you create code that is easy to test in a way that you can easily do dependency injection. You have unified input and output to make sure that you can assert things in a nice way. Tip number 2 was about using access control to kind of limit your API visibility to make sure you have clear boundaries between different parts of your code. And number 3 was to avoid mocking whenever possible. Not never use it, but think twice before you use mocks. If you can use real objects instead, the test becomes a lot easier to maintain. You have to write less code, and you usually end up creating better APIs. So yeah, hi, my name is John, and I'm an iOS developer, and take it easy.